So before we jump into 1 Kings 17 and have a look at Elijah's life, it's really important to jump back in history so that we can understand the context and the circumstances into which God has called Elijah to speak. So jumping way back in history, going all the way back to Genesis, we've got this one man, Jacob. Jacob has 12 sons. These 12 sons become the Israelites. Why Israelites? Because the Lord comes to Jacob and he actually renames Jacob Israel. So the 12 sons of Jacob, Israel, then become the 12 tribes of Israel, the Israelites. Then fast forward a little bit, we find these Israelites in Egypt and they're in slavery to the Egyptians. God uses Moses to go into that situation, bring them out of Egypt and rescue them from slavery. And then they're in the wilderness, they're wandering in the wilderness for many years. Then God brings them into this promised land. All right, so they're in this promised land and this becomes the land of Israel. This land is divided and portioned up among all the 12 tribes of Israel. So that is the situation we have. And then we enter 1st and 2nd Kings, and this land is ruled over by a succession of kings. And the time we're going to jump into now is King Solomon. Solomon is the son of King David. And King David was an amazing king, did so much wrong, but he was a man who is known to be truly after God's heart. Solomon, one of the wisest, maybe the wisest person in all of history, did so much right. But as we read in 1 Kings chapter 11, verse 6, Solomon was evil. He did evil in the sight of the Lord. He was not like his father David. He wasn't devoted to the Lord as his father David had been. So wise, but yet just he was evil. He turned away from the Lord. And the Lord, in his anger, he was like, well, I'm going to tear this kingdom away from you, Solomon, because you don't deserve it. You're not even ruling it like I would like you to and like I ask you to. So I'm going to tear this kingdom away from you. But God keeps his promises. And God had promised to David that there would always be a kingdom and always be part of God's people in the line of David. And that is a whole other thing and a whole other lesson, an amazing lesson, because that is the line and the lineage from which Jesus comes. So really important that God keeps this promise. So he wants to tear all the kingdom away from Solomon, but he also needs to keep his promise and keep some of the Israelites in the line of David, Solomon's father. So Jeroboam, he is a servant of Solomon, and a word came to Jeroboam that he was going to get to rule over Israel, and he would be given 10 tribes, 10 of the 12 tribes of Israel to rule over. Now, where we've got people, we've got problems, and Solomon's pretty evil, so he hears about this plan, and he's like, nah, I'm not letting that happen. I'm just going to hunt Jeroboam down and kill him. Problem solved. Jeroboam, he hears about this plan, so he flees away to Egypt, and he's just hiding out in safety in Egypt, keeping away from Solomon. He then hears that Solomon has died, and Rehoboam, Solomon's son, is ruling the kingdom in his place. So Jeroboam thinks, well, it's going to be safe for me to come back now. So we're going to jump into 1 Kings chapter 12, and Solomon's son Rehoboam is ruling, and all the people come to him, and they ask him to go easier on them and give lower taxes than his father Solomon had done. But Rehoboam, he actually decided he was going to be even harder on the people than his father King Solomon had been. So the people were just like, well, we don't want you ruling over us. Solomon was bad enough, and now we've got Solomon's son Rehoboam being even harder on us. So they decided to rebel against Rehoboam and run from him. They're like, we want a different ruler. And what I love about this, in 1 Kings chapter 12, verse 15, we read, this turn of events was from the Lord to fulfill the word of the Lord. This whole tension, all this rebellion was from the Lord because he had to get away to divide this kingdom and take it away from the line of Solomon, like he had told Solomon that he was going to do. So the people, they decided they wanted Jeroboam to be their king. Remember, Jeroboam is told that he's going to get 10 of these tribes. So the people asked Jeroboam to be their king, and Jeroboam became the ruler over 10 of the tribes, all of the tribes except Judah and Benjamin. The tribes of Judah and Benjamin remained with Rehoboam. So we have Jeroboam, he became the ruler of the northern kingdom of Israel, and Rehoboam, Solomon's son, David's lineage, he remains as ruler over 2 of the tribes, and he becomes ruler over the southern kingdom of Judah. So as with any division though, there's all these moments of peace and harmony, and they're living happily ever after and just getting along with life. But there is this underlying continual war taking place. And we're going to fast forward a few years later, and there have been 7, well, we find King Ahab, and he is the 7th king of Israel, this northern kingdom of Israel. And he is just basically the 7th king leading a succession of disasters. It's one disaster after another. And I really encourage you to jump in and read chapters 14 through 16 to really get a perspective of what's going on here. But we have King Ahab, and the kingdom of the northern kingdom of Israel is just a complete disaster. And that is the kingdom into which Elijah is called by the Lord to go and speak. So let's get our Bibles out and open up at 1 Kings 17 and jump into the life of Elijah.